Imagine having everything money could buy: private jets, luxury mansions, and expensive cars. You are living a life that most people can only dream about. But despite all of this, something deep inside feels completely empty. You start to wonder, if I lost everything tomorrow, would anyone actually care? Or do people only look at my appearance? To find the answer, one billionaire decided to do something completely wild. On a freezing, rainy night, he took off his expensive clothes, covered his face in dirt, and stepped onto the dark streets disguised as a homeless man. He had no idea that a single act of kindness from a struggling mother and her little daughter was about to change his life forever. Before we reveal what happened next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Journey, and comment below where you are watching from. Every story we share reminds us that one small moment of compassion can change the world. Daniel Carter was one of the richest men in America. As the CEO of a billion-dollar tech company in New York City, his name was plastered across business magazines every single week. But building this massive empire came at a price. Daniel had spent his entire life chasing success, completely forgetting what truly mattered. One evening, while driving through the city, he noticed something that deeply disturbed him. Crowds of people walked right past homeless men sitting on the cold sidewalks. Nobody looked at them. Some stared with total disgust, while others avoided eye contact completely, treating them like they were invisible. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. A haunting question kept running through his mind. If I lost everything and became invisible to society, would a single person care? The next day, he made a bold choice. He dressed in old ripped jeans, a stained jacket, and totally worn-out shoes. He rubbed dirt on his face, left his luxury car parked miles away, and walked into the crowded streets. His goal was simple: to see how the world treats someone who has absolutely nothing. For hours, Daniel walked the cold streets. He begged strangers for help, but almost everyone ignored his voice. Some looked at him with deep suspicion, and a few even told him to get lost. As evening approached, a freezing rain began to pour. Hungry, shivering, and completely exhausted, Daniel stepped inside a small roadside diner on the edge of town. The warm smell of fresh soup and baked bread filled the air. But the very second the customers noticed his appearance, uncomfortable glances spread across the room. The waitress approached him nervously. "Sir, if you can't pay, I'm afraid you can't stay here." Embarrassed and defeated, Daniel nodded and turned back toward the door to face the freezing storm. But right then, a soft voice stopped him in his tracks. "Please wait." Daniel turned around and saw a woman in her early 30s sitting in a booth with her young daughter. The woman looked incredibly tired, and her clothes were simple and worn, but her eyes held pure warmth. Beside her sat a little girl, no older than 7, tightly clutching a small, stuffed rabbit. "He can sit with us," the woman said gently to the waitress. The waitress hesitated, but finally nodded. Daniel slowly walked over and joined them at the table. "My name is Saras," the woman said with a warm smile. "And this is my daughter, Emma." Emma smiled shyly and immediately pushed her plate toward the dirty stranger. "You can have some of my mashed potatoes," she whispered. Daniel was completely stunned. Here was a mother and child who clearly had very little themselves, yet they were instantly willing to share their food with a total stranger. Sarah noticed the dirt on his jacket and the deep sadness in his eyes. "Life gets hard sometimes," she said softly, "but everyone deserves kindness." As they ate, Daniel listened to their heartbreaking story. Sarah was working 2 different jobs just to survive after losing her husband in a terrible car accident 3 years earlier. Money was incredibly tight, and every single day was a massive struggle for them. Yet, despite the hardship, she had taught Emma one golden rule above all else: always help someone in need. "My mom says kindness costs nothing," Emma said proudly. Those innocent words hit Daniel harder than any business failure ever could. For years he had measured value strictly in dollars and profits, yet this 7-year-old girl understood a truth he had completely forgotten. Before leaving, Sarah did something that left Daniel speechless. She quietly paid for Daniel's meal, using the last $20 she had left for the entire week. Daniel watched in absolute disbelief as she handed over the cash without a single moment of hesitation. That night, Daniel sat high up in his luxury penthouse, staring out at the city lights, unable to stop thinking about Sarah and Emma. The very next morning, Daniel returned to the diner. But this time he wasn't wearing ripped clothes or dirt. He walked through the door wearing an expensive, flawless tailored suit. Sarah was there, preparing for her morning shift. When she saw him, she didn't recognize him at first. Then she looked into his eyes, and total realization hit her face. Daniel smiled warmly and said, "Yesterday, you treated me with respect when you thought I had absolutely nothing. You gave without expecting a single thing in return, and that changed me forever." He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a check so large it would instantly pay off all her debts, buy them a beautiful new home, and completely secure Emma's future education. Tears immediately rushed down Sarah's eyes, but Daniel wasn't finished. Inspired by their beautiful hearts, he launched a massive national foundation called the Kindness Project, dedicated to helping struggling families all across America. He made Sarah one of its top directors, knowing that her heart truly understood the real meaning of giving. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest waves of change. Sarah and Emma didn't help Daniel because they wanted a reward. They helped because kindness was simply who they were, and in doing so, they reminded a billionaire and all of us that the richest hearts are never measured by money, but by pure compassion. If this story touched your heart, remember to share a little kindness wherever you go today, because one simple choice could change someone's life forever.